What's going on, guys? It's Quasi Dog here, and today I just want to do a very quick sort of candid video about the LG V20 and my first impressions on it. Now, LG Canada was kind enough to send this device out. I know right away some of you guys are looking at the date of this video and thinking, well, this phone's been out for a long time now. And you're not necessarily wrong, but in Canada, we actually just released this on all major carriers within the last 2 weeks or so. So the device is very new for us, though it may not be super new to YouTube or super new to you guys. Now, I will be testing this device for an entire month. So far, I've had it for about 4 days, and I wanted to give you guys my initial impressions. So let's first talk about the screen. This is one of the main draws of people actually looking at the V20. It is huge, and luckily, I like big screens. My phone of choice right now is the Nexus 6P by Huawei. Before that, it was the Note 5, and before that, it was the Motorola Nexus 6. So you guys can kind of see a reoccurring trend here. I like big screens, big keyboards. They're great for multitasking, great for typing, and great for media consumption. So for you guys who are like me and like big screens and are kind of sad that the Note 7 is no longer on the market, the V20 may be perfect for you guys. Now, the colors of the display are really nice. They're actually a little bit softer than I anticipated, but I think that's just because I'm a little used to seeing things like Samsung and actually the Huawei as well, sort of oversaturating and blowing up some of the colors. With the V20, I find the overall image a little bit softer, and I actually enjoy it. I'm finding it a little hard to go back to my Nexus because I'm loving the screen quality on the V20 so much. Now, I will be running this device completely stock. There's not really a point in customizing this and putting launchers on it and things like that because I want to test it exactly as is to let you guys know exactly how good it is from the factory. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not playing top tier games, you can take almost any Android phone, put any skin on it, and you're going to like it. So I want to see the package that the manufacturer kind of shipped out and wants us to use right out of the box. Now, LG, are you listening? Because one thing that I do want to let you know is nobody likes your home screen. I'm sorry, but we don't like all of the applications on the main screen. I don't want to go through 4 of those. I want my app drawer. I know you guys have it, but make it the very first thing that launches. I don't want to hold down my finger on the home screen, go in, download even the home screen with the app drawer, and then go ahead and start using that. I have a retail background. Right now, I actually sell cell phones professionally, and I love the G5. But one thing a lot of my customers said when we'd open it up and we'd turn it on for the first time is, where's my app drawer? And until I actually researched it and started using the G5 for myself, I would say, I don't know, I think that's just the way that it is. So fix that. You've got a cool thing going, and some people might like that, but a lot of people don't. So let's launch that app drawer right when you open it. That would be great. Other than that, let's go ahead and look at the back of the device. So on the back, you've got those 2 cameras. These guys pumped up to full 16:9 will push out 16 megapixels of goodness. One is regular sort of portrait style, and the other one is your wide angle lens. And these guys take amazing photos. I love the autofocus points. It almost feels like taking a picture with a modern SLR as far as setting your focus and things like that. You have filters and you have sort of those little gimmicks and things like that, but just using it stock as is, I really, really enjoyed the experience. And that wide angle is insanely wide. Again, we'll go through all of the details in my full review, but for now, we're just gonna stick with the initial impressions and sort of what I've got out of this over the last few days. Now, one thing that they got right and will really help this sell is the fact that the back battery door is removable and the battery is user interchangeable. This is something we don't see very often on modern smartphones. I know a lot of the times it's actually done away and everything is sealed because they want to give it some sort of IP67 or 68 certification, but there's a big market of people out there that are still slightly scared of Android, and in the past they were always told, or they always did, the whole battery removal anytime that it froze. So in my retail experience, a lot of people are a little apprehensive to go into devices where the battery is not removable. You guys did this right on the G3, the G4, the G5, the V10, and I'm glad to see that it's still there on the V20. Now, staying with the back of the device, there's two other things to cover, one of which, again, with removing the back battery cover, is the fact that there is a memory card slot in this device. In my opinion, any device that takes 4K video should have the opportunity to put in a memory card. I don't like that a lot of brands are starting to go sort of the route of the iPhone, where whatever you buy day one is what you get. Google Drive storage is great, but I want to be able to take a ton of 4K video and a ton of pictures when I'm on vacation and things like that. I don't have a laptop, so everything needs to stay on my phone until I come home. And in fact, I'm actually going on vacation next week for an entire week without a computer, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw a flash card into this device, I'm going to take tons of videos, I'm going to take tons of photos, and all of those are going to be in my review and sort of final thoughts video that I put out on this phone when I'm all done with it. Now, the last thing on the back is the fact that that is actually where the power button is. It's sort of a thing that's been trending with the LG phones lately, again, looking at the LG G3, G4, G5, V10, and now on the V20. At first, I didn't really like it. I do like the double tap to wake feature of the screen, but having that button on the back of it where your finger naturally rests is something that's kind of tough to get used to. But once you do, it's extremely hard to fall out of that habit. And that's where I find myself right now after about 4 or 5 days of use. Whenever I try to go back to my Nexus 6P, I actually try launching the device using the fingerprint scanner, which just doesn't work. One, because that's not the power button, and two, because I actually have a suede skin from Slick Wraps on the back that even if I did want to use that fingerprint reader, it's obstructed. But it's still worth it because it's a sexy ass skin. Now we're gonna end the visual tour at the bottom. Yes, there's some stuff at the top. Again, full review later, first impressions today. That's where the USB-C is. Now USB-C is kind of quickly becoming an industry standard. I really like the fact that you can kind of insert the cable just about any way, similar to a lightning cable, and it just charges a lot faster. Beside that, we have the headphone jack. Yes, there's a headphone jack, and yes, I'm slightly sad that we have to say that's a feature now. But with this headphone jack, it does a little bit more than most others. This is actually a hi-fi DAC for your headphones, so it's gonna output a little bit better audio quality than most smartphones will. And again, we'll go through some tests in the full review afterwards, but initial impressions, I don't really hear a difference. I haven't tested it, I haven't did a side-by-side comparison, but I'm also not really an audiophile and I have crap headphones that I used. They may or may not be Beats. Sorry. Now, overall experience on a day-to-day basis using this device is it's fairly snappy, and that's kind of thanks to the Snapdragon 820 that's inside, as well as the 4 GB of RAM. I've sort of put it through its paces with 1440p video, some multitasking, some light gaming, a lot of emails, a lot of texting. The only thing that I find this device stutters on is Hangouts, but I find that on a lot of devices, and I really don't know why, considering Hangouts is Google, and you would think that they would want their own messaging service to be as light as possible to work on as many Android phones as possible, but I find the keyboard delay in a lot of the groups that I'm in almost makes it unbearable to type on. When I go back to my Nexus 6P, I don't have that issue at all. I used to, back a few updates ago. Right now it's got the most up-to-date beta version of Nougat, at least on the 6P is concerned, and I find that just performs so much better. And that sort of brings me back to my other points and some things that I'm having a hard time adapting to when trying to use the V20 in comparison. This is almost just a comparison video to the 6P, but one thing that kind of keeps the SIM card that I use in the 6P still is the fact that this right now does not natively have the Google Assistant. I love having the ability to just hold that button, talk to it, let it navigate, let it text, let it read my text, everything like that, and that's not something that I get on the V20 right now. So that basically wraps up this video. Again, this was just sort of a quick update to let you guys know my initial impressions, almost from a consumer basis, not going into any sort of specs or any testing, just how I feel about what I would consider a flagship phone, taking it out of the box and just using it as a regular consumer would. Overall impressions are pretty good so far. I really don't have a lot of complaints, and the complaints I have are really just in comparison to some other features that I have on my other flagship device. Aside from that, I think the phone is pretty solid. Stay tuned for my full review, probably dropping within the next 3 or 4 weeks, and use this opportunity to drop a comment to let me know exactly what you guys want me to test on this phone over the next 3 weeks or so before I have to send it back to LG. Quick shout out to them as well. Thank you for sending this out. I've been put on the G6 waiting list as well, so drop a like on this video if you're excited for that. Until the next video, guys, my name is Quasi Dog. You guys have been awesome, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.